At the height of his fame, millions of people loved him, and then he was gone in an instant. Why would one of the funniest comedians of all time quit a show that he helped make a hit? Stay tuned as we reveal the real reason why Jon Stewart abruptly quit The Daily Show and what he did afterward. You probably already know that Jon Stewart made The Daily Show famous. He was more than just a comedian. It was his job for 16 years. He helped millions of people understand hard topics in a clear and entertaining way, and he turned humor into a political force. So what had really happened? Stewart has always had a serious side, even though he is known as a comic. He became a strong voice for things he cared deeply about while he was on The Daily Show, like veterans' rights. He began to think that he could do more for these causes when he wasn't on a humor show. Stewart was still well known after he quit. He worked hard on these issues and even spoke in front of Congress. Haven had such a successful job change, so why did he quit? Let's find out more about how it all began. Jon Stewart was born Jonathan Stewart Leibowitz on November 28, 1962, in New York City. He grew up in Lawrenceville, New Jersey, with a Jewish family. His early years were full of experiences, comedy, and intellectual curiosity, all of which shaped his sharp sense of humor and deep understanding of things. His father, Donald Leibowitz, was a physics professor, and his mother, Marion, was a teacher and educational advisor. His parents split up when he was 11 years old. He says it was a hard and important time in his life. As a kid, Stewart was bullied because of his race, and he often used comedy to deal with it. He would later improve this skill on a national level. Stewart did very well in school and sports, especially soccer at Lawrence High School. Stewart was a smart student, but he liked to deal with personal and social problems through comedy and humor. His unique sense of humor, which included snark, irony, and making fun of himself, came from the fact that he used comedy as a way to deal with stress and shield. From high school to college, Stewart went to the College of William Mary in Virginia. At first, he chose to major in chemistry, but he quickly lost interest and switched to psychology. Even though he had a degree, he couldn't find a long-term job in psychology. Instead, his college years were very important in shaping his view and making him funnier. When he was in a few college plays, he became more interested in comedies. After high school, he worked as a waitress, a puppeteer for disabled kids, and a contract manager for the City University of New York, among other short-term jobs. Stewart moved to Los Angeles to follow his comedic dreams, but in 1986 he decided to go back to New York City to be a part of the booming stand-up comedy scene there. He gave up his last name Leibowitz and performed under the name Jon Stewart. This was partly because he was still uncomfortable with his Jewish background and wanted a cleaner stage name. Stewart went through the same problems that many aspiring comedians do while working late-night gigs in small places for years. His early routines, which caught the attention of comics in New York, were based on his personal experiences, observations of society, and dry humor. Stewart's hard work and skill paid off in the end. People started to notice him on stand-up comedy shows like Caroline's Comedy Hour and the Comedy Strip in the early 1990s. In 1993, MTV hired him to host The Jon Stewart Show. It was his big break. This late-night show quickly became a cult favorite and was one of MTV's first tries at a talk show format. Young people and fans of Stewart's honest, laid-back style of comedy were drawn to The Jon Stewart Show because of its strange humor and endearing portrayal of the average person. Stewart's place in the entertainment business was solidified by the show, which ran for only 2 seasons but gave him a unique style and a lot of potential. Around this time, Stewart also appeared as a guest on a number of late-night shows. Probably best known for taking over for Tom Snyder on The Late Show. Because he was friendly and funny, he started going on popular shows like Late Night with David Letterman. This made him a great choice for guest hosting jobs. Letterman, who was one of Stewart's personal heroes, became interested in him and gave him invaluable business advice and coaching. Stewart agrees that Letterman had a big effect on the way he makes people laugh, especially about how he mixed humor with genuine interest and self-awareness. Stewart became famous on TV, which caught the eye of Hollywood, where he tried writing and acting. On TV, he was in Spin City and The Nanny. In movies, he was in Playing by Heart 1998 and Mixed Nuts 1994. His comedy and TV work, on the other hand, did better than his starring career. Stewart has often made fun of his short time in Hollywood, saying that he quickly learned that his skills were better suited for presenting in comedy than for serious acting. Craig Kilborn gave Stewart the chance of a lifetime in 1999 when he asked him to take over The Daily Show. After having some early success, the show was looking for a new point of view and a new plan. As soon as Stewart said yes to the offer, he set out to make the show his own. Stewart gave The Daily Show a more political edge by talking about things that younger, politically aware people would be interested in instead of just making fun of how news shows are put together. Stewart's view on The Daily Show was marked by harsh, sometimes biting criticisms of politics, the media, and cultural hypocrisy. The show became a satirical force thanks to him and his writing team, which included future comedy stars like Stephen Colbert, Samantha Bee, and John Oliver. They did this especially during big events like the US presidential election in 2000, the September 11th attacks, the Iraq War, and the 2008 financial crisis. Stewart had a lot of loyal fans because he spoke out freely about these issues. And The Daily Show became a big part of American culture, changing how many people thought about politics in the news. Stewart often talked to politicians, reporters, and activists in order to get deeper into tough issues than most other humor shows. And his sense of humor was a mix of skepticism and earnestness. Over time, he became known as a reliable source for young people looking for news that would make them think and be fun to read. Meanwhile, Stewart became well known in TV during his time there, and The Daily Show won many Emmys and other awards. During these years, Stewart had an impact that went beyond comedy. He gave satirical news forms a new sense of respectability and changed political satire in the United States. Stewart's 2004 interview on CNN's Crossfire, where he criticized the show's biased tone, led to the suspension of the show, and showed how much he cares about media ethics and doing good work. Let us go back to 2015. Stewart made the choice to quit his job as the host of The Daily Show. Jon had been on the air 4 nights a week for weeks. Even though it looked like a joke, it was a hard job. He was getting tired after spending hours researching, writing the story, and filming. Stewart admitted that there were times when he felt like he had nothing left to give. He was, after all, acting like a reporter and news host while also making people laugh. It made him feel terrible over time, and it went on for 16 years. He talked about wanting to focus on other things and being burned out from managing the production of hundreds of episodes and having a busy schedule for The Daily Show 4 days a week. The schedule was very tight, so they had to keep planning, making new material, and reading about current events. It was clear to Stewart that this trend was beginning to bother him. In an interview with The Guardian, he told them straight out, "I was just so tired. It looked like something to do. I think I put too much of myself into it emotionally." Stewart may have become burned out in part because he worked so hard on the show. Stewart, who was known for being very careful, worked hard to keep The Daily Show up to date and of good quality. After years of writing about the Bush and Obama administrations, he often said that he didn't like the way American politics were going. Stewart also got tired of talking about the same things over and over. He said that he was tired of how American politics and the media were always saying the same things, which were always about the same things: making news, moving blame, and being angry. He publicly said that he was tired of being angry before he left. This statement opened my eyes and showed how much emotional stress he was under from having to deal with tough political issues every day. Stewart was dedicated, but his job was starting to feel like a burden instead of a fun challenge. His return to TV is shown on The Problem with Jon Stewart on Apple TV, where he talks about political and social issues in detail. Jon Stewart's early life and work show a path marked by bravery, curiosity, and a strong dedication to telling the truth. As a child in New Jersey, Stewart was picked on, but now he does stand-up comedy in New York City and is famous for being on The Daily Show. He is one of the most famous and important people in American satire. His unique brand of comedy, which mixes humor with understanding and deep thought, has had a long effect on political talk and TV. Jon saw an important shift in American politics. When he first started, the show often had funny attacks on the government and the media. But as time went on, the show talked about more important and emotional topics, especially as politics became more heated. Stewart said that there were times when the problems seemed too serious for the jokes to be funny. Additionally, as social media became more popular, false information spread faster than before. This made it harder for him and his team to keep up with all the topics they need to cover. Stewart had been unhappy with corporate media for a long time, which was another reason he quit. One of the most lasting things about The Daily Show is how it constantly criticized American media, especially TV news networks. Stewart often criticized CNN, Fox News, and MSNBC for their sensationalist reporting, lack of context, and the fact that a lot of their reporting was influenced by money. He felt down because the media spread fear, caused arguments, and often didn't do what they were supposed to do as a political body. One of the most famous times he showed dislike for the media was on CNN's Crossfire in 2004. There, he famously said that the show's hosts were hurting America by focusing on useless arguments instead of deep discussion. As The Daily Show went on, Stewart's anger toward the media grew, which is why he often said hurtful things about the news media. Stewart saw this growing anger toward the media as more than just a passing fad. Instead, it was a real worry that would not go away. He had hoped that there would be more responsible media, but he thought that things had gotten worse over time. He was at a point where it looked like he would never be able to change the business he always spoke out against. They were able to work together well because they respected each other, were close, and shared values. After meeting for 4 years, Stewart asked Tracy to marry him in a unique and memorable way. "Are you going to marry me?" is the last answer to a custom crossword puzzle he made for the New York Times that had hints about their friendship. Tracy, of course, said yes, and they got married in 2000. Their marriage has been based on respect, shared values, and a desire to make the world a better place. In 2004, they had their first child, a son named Nathan Thomas. In 2006, 2 years after they got married, Maggie Rose was born. Stewart's attention turned to being a parent. He often talked about how his kids had changed the way he saw life on The Daily Show. He often told his wife and kids that they kept him grounded and balanced, and that his family life was a nice balance to his busy job. Stewart and McShane's love of animals has been another important part of their family life. They both strongly believe in animal rights, and in 2015 opened the Hockoxen Farm Foundation, a farm refuge in New Jersey. As a sign of their shared commitment to protecting the environment and caring for animals, the refuge gives hurt and neglected farm animals a safe place to stay. As a family project, the shelter has taught the couple's kids to care about others and be responsible. They often come to help take care of the animals. Stewart has always put his family ahead of himself, even though he is well known. After leaving The Daily Show in 2015, he stepped away from the press to spend more time with Tracy and their kids. In interviews, Stewart said that one of the reasons he quit was to be more active in the lives of his children as they got older. This focus on family shows in the way he handles work-life balance. Jon Stewart's connection with Tracy McShane and their family life show that he is deeply committed to comedy, kindness, and making the world a better place. Stewart has always put his family first in everything he does, whether it's work, parenting, or protecting animals. His personal life is a testament to love, dedication, and a shared goal. Every day was hard for him for years. When he got home from say goodbye to them in the morning, his kids were often already asleep. After leaving The Daily Show, being a dad and a husband took up more of my time. It was clear that he wanted a slower-paced life where he could rest, spend more time with his family, and maybe even try out new artistic projects. Jon Stewart's attitude is still changing. Because of this, his desire for new creative tasks was another reason he left The Daily Show. After 16 years in the same job, he was eager to try new things and learn more about other parts of it. Stewart told people who interviewed him after he left that he wanted to work on projects that would let him connect with audiences in new ways and try out different ways of telling stories. A serious project about a reporter who is being held in jail in Iran. After that, in 2014, he directed the movie Rosewater, showing that he wants to tell stories in more varied and exciting ways, not just funny ones. It was also said that Stewart would like to spend more time with his family. He said he wanted to spend more time with his family and live a less busy life, because The Daily Show's busy schedule didn't leave much time for personal things. Then, what will happen to The Daily Show without Stewart? Let's find out. Leaving The Daily Show without Jon Stewart was a big change for American political comedy and for the show itself. It's hard to say enough good things about how he changed politics and TV. He changed the late-night model by making satirical news, which made it possible for shows like Full Frontal with Samantha Bee, Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, and The Colbert Report to come out. Stewart's brand of comedy has left a lasting impact on American society. He is smart and not afraid to take on powerful people. Jon Stewart finally chose to leave The Daily Show because he felt he had done all that he could in that role. His choice was affected by the fact that he was tired, unhappy with the media and politics, wanted to try new things creatively, and wanted to prioritize his family and personal life. He himself said that the show had turned into a friendship that doesn't work as well anymore. Many people remember Stewart as a pioneer of political comedy, even though he quit, marking the end of an amazing chapter in television history. His impact can be seen in the work of those he inspired and in the way political commentary on TV is still growing. But it's clear that he's always tried to make things better. Are you sure that The Daily Show is still the same without Jon?